Guys, there's so much going on here with the Saturday interview with Jake Barber, as we now know the whistleblower's name that Ross Coulthart spoke to. We'll be airing his interview on Saturday. More footage is coming out. More claims are being made by Barber. There's potentially more witnesses, 3 more, that are going to back up his claims and go on camera, apparently. And the biggest thing, as I mentioned inside of the title of this video, that NewsNation is going to air footage of the potential craft recovery, it seems like. So thanks for joining us here on the show. It is Down to Earth with me, Kristian Harloff. If you're brand new to this channel, first of all, thank you for visiting. Thank you for asking questions. Thank you for being curious about what the hell is going on with all this stuff. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, comment, click like. For those of you who are returning, again, thank you very much for giving me your time and being here today. So let's get into this. The first thing is the tweet that I saw, and I was sending this out to friends and family last night and people who have been curious and kind of watching from afar. And it was very interesting. I sent this particular tweet rather, about the NewsNation footage that they're going to show on Saturday. All 3 or 4 people that I sent them to responded with the double exclamation point. Let me show you guys first, and we'll talk about it. All right, so check this out. Dan Warren asks, "Is NewsNation going to show the EGG UFO crash retrieval video?" Ross Coulthart just responds, "Yes, they are." To which Andy Gibson, who works there as well, says, "Yep, we are." Confirmation that NewsNation is going to show the actual video itself. So what's being said inside of this video is that it's pretty compelling, right? Apparently Hal Puthoff says the same thing. That guy doesn't give interviews hardly ever. And I was going back and forth and talking with Pavel about this, and we just both thought it was very interesting because if you look in the future, you look in the past, he's been more, I don't think cagey is the right word, but he hasn't been as upfront with his answers, and he's been a little bit more reserved, I should say, is probably the better way to say it. But he's been a lot more open with things that he's been talking about lately. And he also has said that this is compelling footage that they're going to show. So what does that mean? What they can't show is some kind of dot and going, well, what is that? There's too many questions of us going, not in a way like, what the hell is that? That's okay. The question of going, well, you can't even tell what that is. I don't know what that is. That'll be an issue. But there's a lot to go with on this story. Saturday is becoming more and more interesting. And then this is another, and speaking of Joe Cahill, here's a video that he talked about. Even more witnesses are going to come forward to the claims that have been made. So check this out.
The first person to go public saying that he actually participated directly in a secret military program that he believes was to retrieve UAP or alien craft. Now, Barber says he was contracted as a helicopter pilot. He retrieved all kinds of crashed craft. Some of it, he says, top secret and explainable. Others, he says, however, he believes were non-human origin. It's not just him. We've got 3 other military veterans backing up his story on the record and on camera to NewsNation.
Okay, so inside of this, first let you know about Barber and saying, okay, this is what's coming. A little bit more of the preview saying this is what he's going to be talking about. And then kind of the nonchalant of like, yeah, and we have 3 other people who can back up his story and they'll be on camera too. And I think that there were more reports of this, as I remember talking about this, that more and more people said there are going to be more whistleblowers that are coming forward, more and more who are going to be talking, more and more who are going to have more firsthand knowledge. And that seems to be what is happening. Now, the other day, and as I mentioned this too, Ross Coulthart said the beginning of 2025, to which I misquoted him and said, I thought he said January. He might as well said January. Because January, so far, all hell is breaking loose. It seems like, anyway. We got to see what happens on Saturday in general. But there's so much to this story overall, and that's why I think he was pretty confident. This is what I said a few different times. Unless you know what you got, don't say it. Seems like he knows what he got. And I'm sure he's seen the footage of whatever it is that they're going to show on Saturday, which could be game changer nonetheless. But they released a little bit more from Barber's interview about what he's going to be talking about on Saturday. And here's a little bit of that. Let's watch that together. Here you go.
A lot of the work we did was on what I call the range, where the U.S. government and its private partners use to test all kinds of things, weapon systems and resilience to weapon systems of certain craft. And so you see a lot of exciting things. My work has included the recovery of downed UAP of non-human origin.
How long have you known this secret about unidentified anomalous phenomena being of non-human origin?
For more than 10 years.
And at no stage were you ever subsequently told that the craft was of non-human origin?
I will tell you that during this process over the last couple of years, it's been confirmed to me by ranking members of the UAP task force that what we were working with that night was in fact NHI, and it was not a unique experience.
Okay, so you have more details there about what he worked on, a little bit more detail of what we're going to get in the fact that he's confident of that it is indeed confirmation that it is NHI, not this stuff of like, well, I'm kind of, from what I've heard, it's like, no, this is, I've talked to high-ranking officials, we saw what we saw, we know what it is, and it's indeed, I've been told by the task force that it is indeed NHI. It is, as we've talked about, the important things. This is one of the two most important things. Once you get the credentials and everything else too, if they get the other 3 whistleblowers who have the credentials and all that, that is one of the two most important things we've said you have to get. You got to get people who have seen these things, touched these things, been around these things, know what these things are, had conversations about it, confirmation of what it is. That's one of the two things, right? Having more people to also say that's exactly, he's saying what it is, we have his back, that's exactly what it is, we were part of it too. Important. Second biggest part, if not the biggest part, is to have footage, have something to say, look at this. This is what this is. This is what I was talking about. This is that particular thing, which seems like, as you saw with that tweet and what people are saying, that that's what they're going to show. Now, we have to all watch that video and think that it's compelling also, right? Anybody who's watching that or anybody who is going to be investigating this has to think it's important enough to say, okay, enough is enough. Let's find out what the hell is going on here and no more of these freaking lies. Lou Elizondo chimed in about this and talked about his thoughts about what we're going to see. And here are his thoughts. He gave a pretty longer explanation, but this is a short clip.
I think when the American people see some of the evidence that this individual has, you're going to leave some people scratching their heads. And that's okay, because I think now we're getting to the point in the conversation of disclosure where people are realizing that, yeah, this is real. It has occurred and it's continuing to occur, and our government hasn't always been completely truthful about it. I am absolutely certain there's probably really good reasons for it. I don't agree with those reasons. But with that said, I must respect those reasons, and that's why it's taken us so long, over 7 years, to get to this point in the conversation, because we had to do it right, and there was only one chance to do it right and a whole bunch of chances to do it wrong. Ultimately, I don't know how this is going to play out. My hope is that members of Congress will see this. My hope is that individuals in the new Trump administration will see this and begin to start asking the hard questions and do some of the things that we have made recommendations in the past to do. Things like new legislation, things like a national strategy for U.S. air domain to include anomalous phenomenon, to include things like drones.
All right, so I think a lot of that is very interesting, and the new legislation part of it. And then I start saying, well, the biggest adversary to that legislation, one of, was Mike Turner, who's no longer there. Does that have anything to do with it? Maybe. I don't know. Other things he's saying, he said, it'll leave people scratching their heads. Scratching their heads how, though? Scratching their heads as far as, well, I don't know what that is. What is that? I don't really get any clear answers. Or, what the hell was that? We need more answers, which I think is what he was saying. And then the other part that I agree with that we've been talking about is what you hope that it does is that the evidence is compelling enough that the new administration says, everyone is talking about this. Everyone is pointing their fingers at us now and saying that we have to figure out what is going on. So let's put these pieces in play that we've been talking about, put that legislation out and find out what the hell is going on. And let's let the cat out of the bag. If this is one of those things to where you just can't, we've talked about this on this show for the last year and a half. If it's the type of footage that you just can't say, well, that was a balloon. It was gas. Yeah, it was nothing. Sean Kirkpatrick, tell him. Like, if you can't explain that, whatever they're going to show, if you go, well, what's that then? Tell us what that is. Because it looks like craft. What is it? And then they come out and they go, well, actually, it is secret weaponry that we've been working on. Or they have some kind of answer for it. I don't know. But the footage has to be compelling. Nonetheless, as I said, as the title of this video says, NewsNation confirms they are going to show the footage on Saturday. What do you think it will be? Will it be a game changer? Do you think that these things are going to start moving the needle? What say you? I will be watching. My goal is that I'm not going to be in my studio, so most likely I'll probably just shoot some video on my phone with my thoughts and upload it to the channel on Saturday. Depending on what is shown. If it's a nothing burger like the hearing was, then I'm not going to do anything. But if it's something significant, you bet your ass I'll be doing that. So thanks for being here today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. Have a great weekend. Maybe it's going to be a pretty compelling weekend. We'll see come tomorrow night. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. And if you want to help out the channel, you can become a member. If not, easy way. Look good and get yourself some public rec. That's right. I love public rec. Wear them all the time, and you should too. Here you go.
Don't BS me. You know as well as I do, wearing nice pants stinks. Who came up with the plan and said, hey, let's get some uncomfortable fabrics, squeezing your family jewels, and that is how you're going to look sharp. I'm going to give you an early holiday gift, and this is from me to you. The days are over. Public Rec's Daymaker pants, they're here to make sure you stay comfy and classy this season. They feel like your favorite sweats, but they're tailored pants. Super stretchy with an elastic waistband so you can rock them anywhere. Doesn't matter. You're going to work, you're going to hang out with your friends, they got you covered. Give the gift of comfort to someone that you love this season with Public Rec's Daymaker pants. And for a limited time only, you can get 20% off your entire order. You got to use that code DTE at publicrec.com. That is 20% off when you use that code DTE at publicrec.com. This morning, I was looking in the mirror. I go, these look damn good. I look slick. Anyway, go there, check it out, and you'll thank me later.